Well guys, the new Arrow Lake CPUs from Intel just came out, which means it's the perfect time to build a PC like this, without Arrow Lake CPUs and with a Ryzen 7 7800X3D, which is still the best gaming CPU out there at the moment. So with that said, let's get started and let's take a look at this PC, which I've built with the idea of maxing out the new Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which just came out. This thing, in this configuration, can max it out at 300 FPS 1080p, but also at around 240 FPS 1440p. Now, what I have here today is actually a hybrid configuration because this thing can also do productivity work, and we overspent on the motherboard a little bit. Now, if you've been following the channel for a while, you know I made a video explaining how X670E motherboards are pretty much useless, and what we have here today is an X670E motherboard from MSI, so you can save some money there. So that's the first thing I would honestly change. You can get a B650 and be plenty fine, but we went with that today. Again, we got the best gaming CPU at the moment, which is still the Ryzen 7 7800X3D. Now things are gonna change because the new X3D CPU is gonna come out in a while, but it's not ready yet and it's gonna take a little bit more, I think. What I said at the beginning was kind of a joke because the new Intel CPUs are not too bad actually if you tweak them, but it was a pretty underwhelming launch, I think, and this is much better value for money, especially if you get good RAM with this CPU. So what I've gotten here today is some very high frequency RAM from Team Group. I've got their T-Force Extreme ARGB, and it's probably the best looking RAM I've seen lately. I mean, it has this plastic enclosed RGB which looks like glass. On video it looks nice, but in person it looks really nice. I want to get a kit for my personal PC as well. It's not all aesthetic though, because Ryzen is very much RAM dependent. So this is high frequency, low latency RAM, which after tweaking it, as I show, by the way, if you want to know how to do it, I have a full AM5 undervolting guide, gives you a 15% increase in performance with the Ryzen 7 7800X3D compared to stock if you pair it with a proper undervolt, which is a massive performance increase. Not that this CPU needed it, but it's nice to have. I also went with Team Group for the SSD with their latest Gen 4 drive. I got a 2TB drive just to be safe, and this thing is really fast. I mean, take a look at the Crystal Deskmat score, and it does so while being relatively cool because, of course, we got an expensive motherboard for no reason, but at least it's cooling down the NVMe properly. Gen 5 drives at the moment for gaming are still useless, so a good Gen 4 drive is the way to go if you're planning on doing a gaming-specific build. Now, for the cooler, I went with this EK Nucleus 360 just because I got it for cheap. It's a very good cooler, the pump looks nice, it matches the RAM. It's nothing special, but it cools very well. We have mismatched black fans because we couldn't have the original fans working, so we have to go with that. But they're actually cooling the CPU very well because the Ryzen 7 is a CPU that runs really cool. So you can actually get away even with an air cooler, with a cheaper all-in-one, it doesn't matter, it's not the focus of the build. You may be curious about which GPU I've picked though, and now again, if you've been following the channel, probably the 3 of you who watch this channel, you will know that I don't like RTX 4090s. It is not a good moment to buy them, especially right now, because RTX 5000 is around the corner and the 4090 is going to be the one depreciating the most. So we went with a 4080 Super Ventus, which I have sped unboxed again. I'm trying to beat my record in speed unboxing. I'll let you guys see the footage. But yeah, I can do better still. I think I got a worse time than before, but still, we're working on that. But jokes aside, this is the best value CPU on the high end to buy right now, unless you want to go AMD. If you want to go AMD, the RX 7900 XTX is a much better buy. I've covered it on the channel. I'm sending you to a lot of different videos, but I don't want to go too much in depth on the single components, so I apologize. But basically, 7900 XTX, if you can put up with the lack of NVIDIA features, lack of DLSS, and terrible ray tracing, is going to be a much better card for pure rasterization. And I've tried it with Black Ops 6 and it's insane. It just maxes out the engine even at 1440p with this Ryzen 7 7800X3D. So I can definitely recommend that. Now, power supply, I got an iTech PSU just because it was cheap. Doesn't matter. 850 watt, 80 plus gold. Really, you can get any kind of PSU in the 750 to 850 watt range. Just get a decent one, which is cheap. It's gonna be fine. Something cool, which I've picked here today, which I'm actually recommending you guys, is this case. So this is the Sharkoon Rebel C80 ARGB. This case, you can definitely see that it came after all the aquarium cases because it implements a lot of cool things, which we've seen for the first time in aquarium cases. Now, there's a retention bracket on the back, which can do the cable management for you. So then the side panel just comes out by clicking it, and the glass does too. But it's locked. It's not like it's gonna come out while moving the case around like other cases I've had in the past. And it's pretty spacious. It has an inbuilt GPU anti-sag stand, so I didn't use the one from the MSI Ventus in this build. And this side cover you can actually remove, and you can put either fans or SSDs there. So again, you can see that it came after the aquarium cases, and it's also why the back is fully meshed. Other than that, it's a typical mid-tower case, which is pretty spacious with 4 included ARGB fans, comes with a lot of accessories, has a cool design on the front. You know, it's just a good case. I can recommend it 100%. It's good. I will show you guys the temperature of the hardware, and as you can see, it's running all pretty cool and quiet, so you have nothing bad to say about it. So I can recommend it if you want a traditional case and not an aquarium one. Especially cheap aquarium cases you should definitely avoid. Again, made a video about that in case you want to check it out. So with that said, a few performance numbers for you guys with this PC, okay? Pretty crazy, but also at this point you're probably not going to be surprised. This thing maxes out Apex Legends at 1080p at 300 FPS with competitive settings. It maxes it out at 1080p with high settings, and it even maxes Apex Legends out at the full performance of the engine at 300 FPS in 1440p with competitive settings, which is crazy if you ask me. On Fortnite 1080p we are doing 500 FPS, which is definitely useless unless you have one of those Asus ROG 540Hz monitors, I guess. And of course you can play literally any single player title you want with ray tracing on, whatever you want on, at 1080p, and same thing at 1440p. 4K, not every game is going to run on ultra, but you can play whatever you want on high settings pretty much. So I'd say it's a pretty solid build, and this is what I recommend for high-end gaming, especially for the new Call of Duty in late 2024. But let me know if you like it, let me know if it would have changed anything, and of course I hope to see you guys again in another video. Bye bye.